Okay. And once we have our UI in place, so essentially, once we have all the filters and we can successfully change the state values as we are choosing different options, now, of course, let's set up the function that is going to filter our product. And of course, our function is in the filter reducer, and we're looking for this action of filter product. And we need to keep in mind that, of course, we're calling this function every time we have changes in the state filters. So every time we apply some kind of change here in the filters, we dispatch the action, filter product, and now we just need to, of course, take care of that in the reducer. Because at the moment, we just have filtering products. And the first thing probably is going to be the most important one. And then one by one, we'll add functionality for all the filters. But what I would definitely want you to understand is that we need to have two values. So we need to have filter product. So essentially, we need to have the array that is going to have the results of our filtered product. But then we always need to have this all product. Because remember, when we set up our first action, the load product, I purposely set up two state values. One is for filter products, and that is the one that we're using to display our filter product array in the UI. So this array will always be changing. Either it's going to get smaller, bigger, or whatever. And then this one will always have the value of all the products. And that is crucial when you're setting up the filtering. Otherwise, the functionality won't make sense because you need to keep in mind that if you have only one array like this, then of course, within a matter of seconds, you will run out of those products because you always need to have that fresh copy of all the products. So basically, all your data. That's why we'll scroll down. And of course, there it is, our filter product. And I'm going to start simply by getting all the products out of the state. So say here like this, all and underscore product, and that is equal to a state. And then I'm going to set up my new array, and I'm going to call this let temp product because you'll see in a second that we'll overwrite every time we have some kind of filter functionality. And that one is equal to dot, and then all product. So before I filter anything, I always start with a fresh copy of all the products. And then when I'm done, I'm returning a state. And in this case, of course, the name was filtered product. Now this will be equal to a temp product. So the array is going to be responsible for filtering out the product. Again, I know it might look confusing right now, but the whole point is we always want to start with fresh set of data where we have all the products. And only once we're done with our functionality, so once we're done filtering, or here, once we're done setting up all our functionality, then we want to return filtered products equal to whatever array we're getting back. So for example, if we're going to go back to defaults in all the filters, then essentially we're just getting all the products. But this is not going to work if you're going to get filtered product from the state and then you filter more and then return it. It's not just going to work. Eventually, you will run out of this product. So that's why before you filter anything, you want to start with fresh set of data. And then once you're done setting up your functionality, then you just return this array. Now, of course, there's going to be cases where this array also is just going to be empty array. That's fine. But if you won't start from the scratch every time, again, your functionality won't work. That's something you need to remember that every time you set up some kind of filtering, you always need to have access to that default data. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And once I'm done repeating the same sentence pretty much 70,000 times, now, of course, I also would want to get those filters out of my state. Because, yeah, this is a new array. Everything works great. But, of course, I would want to check those values as well. Remember the ones we were setting up over here. That is text, company, category, color, and all that. So in the filter reducer, right after I destructure all the products, I also would want to get const, and I'll set it equal to state filters, state and then filters, just because I don't want to do the nested destructuring. I find it to be annoying in this case. So we're going to go with text and then category again, all the state values. Pretty straightforward. Company. And of course, I just need to learn how to type company. And then we're looking for color and then price and then shipping. Now, if you want, you can console log. Again, these values will change as we are changing the filters because remember, we run this action. So we dispatch this action every time there's a change here. So if you want, you can console log it, but I can just tell you that, of course, you'll get back the same values that we already looked at previously when I was showing you the component, essentially my state. And now let's start filtering. So I'll start with the text since that is my first filter. So in here, I'm just going to set up a bunch of if statements. And by the way, I want to do it below the temp product. So below the comment of filtering. And here I'm going to say if text is anything but empty string, then of course I would want to filter my temp product. And the way it's going to look like, I'm going to say temp product is equal to a temp product. So essentially, I'm going to filter, and my new value right now is going to be whatever I'm getting back from this filter. And then you can already see that I'm setting up my filter product, the ones that I'm displaying equal to this one. So whatever I'm going to get back from this filter is going to be that value displayed in my products page. So in here, let's go with temp products and filter. And notice, of course, that's why I use let over here, because essentially in every if statement, we are overriding the value of temp product. So we are setting it up equal to a new value. And of course, we have our callback function. I'll name each item here a product. And then as far as the return, I can do implicit return if I would want, but in this case, I'm just going to go explicitly with return. And in this case, what I would want is to return only the items that start with the text that I have in the text input. So for example, if I type AB, I would want to check for items that start with AB, correct? Now, where I can check the name in the product, the property is name, correct? So I go here with product and then name, and I just want to make sure that there's no casing issues. So that's why I'll right away say to lowercase, make sure that the casing matches. And then I will use the string method by the name of start, and then with. And then, of course, I just want to pass in that text. So the text that is coming from my state. So if the product starts with a text, of course, then I'm returning the product. If not, then the product is going to be removed from the array. And once I save, and once we navigate to the bigger screen, what we should see that the moment I start typing, notice I'm getting only the products that match my search. Again, hopefully that makes sense, where we're getting all the products. So all the data, not the filter data, but all the data. Whatever it is, at the moment it is 17 items, then hopefully I'm going to add more products to the API, and then it's going to be 25, 30, or whatever. So every time I dispatch the filter product, I always start from the scratch. I always start by setting up my temp product equal to all the products. And only when I'm done with my functionality, only when I filter out my array quite a few times, so essentially for every state value I have, then I return the filter product equal to whatever I have. And if you want, you can test it out. You can switch this around. If you don't believe me, you can go with filter products over here and then also set it to temp products, and you'll see how functionality will go bananas quickly, because essentially you're not starting from the scratch every time you're filtering. You already base your current values on the previous ones. And in filter, of course, that means that you're getting less and less and less products every time. Okay. Hopefully that is clear. We can see how we can do it with the text. And now, of course, we just need to add those other options as well. So we start with text, then we have category, we have company, we have colors, price, and of course the free shipping as well. And check it out. If, of course, I'm going to back to the default. Of course, I am dispatching the action because there was a change in my state, correct? In the state filters, more precisely. And then since I'm going back to the default, I'm setting back to all the products. And then this one will be false, correct? Because if I remove everything, now I'm getting all the products. Why? Again, let's go over one more time. And then for the next ones, I'm not going to spend so much time on it. But the reason why this is happening, because we have the components. Over here, we have filter provider. And then check it out. In the filters right now, my text value is what? It is an empty string. And I start here with all the products, but then this one is false. So this condition is not met. And then, of course, as far as return, I just return my filtered product back to all the products, since this is my current value. So that's why when I'm typing something, of course, I'm changing the state value. And notice eventually I do run out of the products because there are no products that start with DF. But then once I remove, the condition is not met. And again, we just display all the products. Hopefully that is clear, because essentially that is the hardest part in the setup. Everything else is just adding more and more conditions. And the idea is going to be exactly the same, that if the value is not equal to all, then I would want to filter. If the value is equal to all, then of course I would want to return all the products, because of course I would want to see all the categories, all the companies and colors and all that.